You are not imagining it. Entry-level jobs are getting harder to find. Smaller teams are doing more work. Tasks that once took hours can now be finished in seconds. Maybe you are afraid your job is next. Maybe you have already lost it. And every piece of advice sounds the same. Learn AI, move faster, make yourself more valuable. Ancient Chinese thinkers never saw AI, but they asked a question that feels painfully modern. If you are no longer useful in the same way, do you become less valuable as a person? By the end, you'll have a clearer way to separate career loss from self-worth. You'll see what AI is actually changing and have a practical way to decide what to do next. The first lesson is simple. Losing one way of being useful does not make you useless. More than 2,000 years ago, a Chinese thinker named Zhuangzi told a story about a carpenter and a huge old tree. The trunk was twisted. The branches were crooked. The tree was no good for a ship, a house, or a piece of furniture. So the carpenter called it useless and walked away. But the carpenter had judged the whole tree by one question. Can I turn it into lumber? The tree was useless as lumber. That did not make the tree itself worthless. We often make the same mistake with ourselves. We take the one thing an employer pays us to do and turn it into our identity. Writer, designer, programmer, analyst, manager. When AI performs part of that role, we do not hear, "This task is becoming cheaper." We hear, "I am becoming useless." The story gives us a better starting point. Losing one way of being useful does not erase the rest of you. This does not mean you should stop being useful. It means one employer, one job title, or one moment in the economy should not define everything you are. Now we can get practical. Stop treating your whole job as one piece. Asking, "Can AI do my job?" repeats the carpenter's mistake. It reduces a complex role to a single task. Break the work into 5 parts instead. Start with production, the draft, the image, the spreadsheet, or the code. Then comes checking. Is the answer true? Is something missing? Will it work in this situation? Next is judgment. What problem should we solve? What trade-off can we accept? When should we stop? Then there is trust. Can you understand the client, patient, student, or team in front of you? And finally, responsibility. Who has the authority to say yes or no? Who answers when the result causes harm? AI is already strong at some forms of production, and it can assist with the rest. But assistance is not responsibility. A tool cannot answer for the outcome. Write down 5 words: produce, check, judge, trust, and own. Then place your real tasks under those headings. Once you've sorted the tasks, the risk becomes easier to see. You can tell which tasks are becoming cheaper and where your knowledge, judgment, relationships, and responsibility still matter. The tree was more than lumber. Your job is more than its easiest task to automate. The evidence points to uneven change, not a single wave of job losses. In 2025, the International Labor Organization estimated that 1 in 4 workers worldwide was in a job with some exposure to generative AI. But only 3.3% of global employment was in its highest exposure group. The report did not say that 1/4 of all jobs would disappear. It said job transformation was more likely than complete replacement. Still, the risk is real. The 2026 Stanford AI Index found that large-scale job losses had not yet shown up in overall employment data. But pressure was already appearing in entry-level hiring and among younger workers in exposed fields. The clearest conclusion is that AI is changing tasks, shrinking some entry points, and shifting power inside the workplace. The impact is real, but it is not evenly distributed. That is why reviewing your actual tasks is more useful than either panic or denial. Losing a job can still hurt your income and your life. Once you separate that loss from the shame of feeling worthless, you can ask a more useful question. How do you rebuild without trying to become a faster machine? Start by refusing to build your identity around one fixed function. More than 2,000 years ago, Confucius put the idea into 4 Chinese characters. In modern English, a person of character is more than a tool. A cup holds water. A knife cuts. Each has one fixed use. A person can learn, judge, and grow beyond one assigned role. This is not an argument against expertise. It is an argument against stopping at one narrow skill. Use the five-part review again. If AI can produce the first draft, learn to check it. If it can offer 5 options, learn to explain the trade-offs. And if it recommends an action, learn to recognize when that answer should be rejected. Move from producing toward checking. From checking toward judgment. From judgment toward responsibility. Your old task may shrink. Your ability to learn does not end with it. Next, stop competing where the machine is strongest. The ancient Chinese military text The Art of War advises against attacking an opponent where they are strongest. Applied to work, the lesson is simple. Do not build your future around repetitive output, scanning more information, or beating a machine to the first draft. Those are the areas where machines improve fastest. Make 2 lists. On the first, write what AI can now produce well enough. Learn to use it there. Do not spend all your energy defending every old task. On the second, write down the hard moments in your work. Times when the answer was unclear, 2 rules conflicted, a client was afraid, a team had to choose, or someone had to accept the consequences. Those moments show where judgment, context, trust, and responsibility matter. Then change how you describe your experience. Do not just say, I wrote 50 reports. Explain the error you caught, the decision you improved, the trust you earned, and the outcome you were responsible for. Nobody can give you a reliable list of things AI will never do. This method simply helps you stop competing only where the machine is strongest. If you are already unemployed, start with the same method. Do not describe yourself only by the title you lost. Write down the real tasks inside that role. Mark what is becoming easier to automate, and circle every example where you checked an answer, made a judgment, earned trust, or accepted responsibility. Use those examples to rewrite your resume, build a work sample, and prepare your interview stories. Do not just say that you know how to use AI. Show that you can direct it, challenge it, connect it to a real problem, and take responsibility for the result. None of this guarantees a quick result. Finding work can still be slow and unfair, but it gives you a better starting point than a job title you no longer hold. Unemployment is a situation you are going through. It is not a definition of who you are. If you are a leader, you may need to think even harder about this. Workers should not carry the transition alone. More than 2,000 years ago, a Chinese thinker named Mozi judged decisions by asking a direct question: who gains and who gets hurt? If AI saves thousands of work hours, who benefits? Do customers get better service? Do workers get higher pay, shorter hours, or time to retrain? Or do the gains move upward while layoffs and insecurity move downward? Another ancient Chinese thinker, Han Fei, cared less about promises than about whether the results matched the claims. If AI is called an assistant, do workers have time to check it? Can they reject its output? Who is responsible when it fails? Are people rewarded for careful review or punished for slowing the system down? Using AI responsibly takes more than telling people to adapt. Leaders need to pay for training, define who has authority, be honest about the changes, build real safeguards, and share the gains and risks more fairly. AI changes the work. Leaders decide whether people get a chance to grow with that change or are simply pushed aside. So here is the answer. AI can change the market price of your work, make a skill less rare, and remove a task, or even an entire role. Do not deny that change. Break your work apart. Use AI where it helps. Build the ability to check, judge, earn trust, and own results. If you lead others, share the gains and the risks more fairly. But do not repeat the carpenter's mistake. The carpenter was right about one thing. The tree was useless as lumber. His mistake was treating lumber as the measure of the whole tree. The market may be right that one of your old tasks is no longer scarce. We are wrong when we treat the price of that task as the value of an entire life. Your job can change, your career can be interrupted, and your skills can become outdated. Those losses matter, but they still do not define the person going through them. AI can tell us what a task costs. It cannot tell us what a human being is worth. Which part of your work would you gladly give to AI? And which part should a human still be responsible for? Tell me in the comments. Your answer may help someone else see their own work more clearly. If you want ancient wisdom to help you think through modern problems, subscribe to this channel. Thank you.